The Steam Deck is the gaming device I never even knew I wanted or needed, but this thing has blown my mind. I am so excited for this, and I'm here to nerd out with you today about this incredible new gaming console. There has been all kinds of stuff going on online, on Twitter, on YouTube about this announcement of the Streamlabs Stream Deck, which is a handheld, portable PC gaming system. Now, there have been a few other systems like this out there in the past. Recently, actually, the Aya Neo was in production. I don't know if it's been released or if it's in prototype stage right now. I've seen a few people reviewing it, and it does give you that same sort of Nintendo Switch form factor that plays PC games, but nothing to the level of performance and the attention to detail that Valve has put into this new Stream Deck. So this is, fully pun intended, a game changer. And let me tell you why. Nobody's really talking about this that much online. Rich from Review Tech USA got into it a little bit today. I've been watching video after video after video. I've read every article from Kotaku to comicbook.com to whatever I could get my hands on about this thing. And I actually do have one of these coming eventually. They are slated to release sometime in December. I was able to get a pre-order in for the highest model. There are 3 different models of this Stream Deck. And of course you're seeing some footage here as I talk, but there are 3 different models. There is a low-end model which is just a little bit more expensive, just $50 more expensive than the Switch OLED model that is coming out in October. And a lot of people are saying this really shines a light on the opportunities that Nintendo has missed. Now, for me, I think both things, this is not a Switch killer. This is definitely a Switch competitor for those of us who are more, tech savvy, for example. You're going to pick up one of these if you can afford it, if you want one, and it's definitely going to give you more horsepower under the hood than a Nintendo Switch, by far. Stream Deck is going to give us about 2 teraflops of performance power, so that is equivalent to or a little bit better than a base PS4 or Xbox One, just by a bit, but it's also newer architecture, so it's actually going to utilize that power in some cases with some games even better than the PS4 could. And because of the way that it's set up with a 16x10 1280 by 800 screen, basically 720p but in a 16x10 flavor, what this is offering us is a lower resolution so that you can bump up the performance settings in a lot of those games to high, even ultra high or max settings, even on current cutting-edge AAA games. So this is absolutely, no word of a lie, a game changer. I have actually been in a few arguments with people who said, this is just another mini PC craze. We've seen it, Razer and various companies like that have made things like that. The difference here is this is backed up by Valve and Steam, and it is running a custom OS, SteamOS 3, which is going to give you a console-like experience for your PC games. So you're going to have this native operating system on this device. This device actually is just a mini PC, so you can install other operating systems on if you want, Linux, Windows, whatever you want, the sky's the limit. But it is going to come stock with this SteamOS 3, which is going to give you the same sort of feel that you get with your Nintendo Switch, where you're going to be able to kind of just browse through your games and hit play and go straight into a game without having to worry too much about loading apps and tweaking things. It's going to have default settings for all of your games that are just going to work flawlessly with the buttons and things like that, default settings built into Steam. So, this is really going to be a console experience for your PC games, and that is why this is a game changer. Is this going to put Nintendo out of business? No, absolutely not. Nintendo will survive on their first-party stuff. Nintendo is fantastic. I love my Switch. Is this going to give the Switch maybe a little needed competition? Maybe push Nintendo in the right direction so that maybe in another 6 months or a year, we actually do see some, if not an actual revision, at least maybe some news of the next generation or what Nintendo thinks that they will be capable of to compete with this kind of form factor. Because let me tell you, the pre-orders went live 10 a.m. Pacific, that's 1 p.m. my time. I was on the computer 15 minutes ahead of time, and exactly at 1 p.m. when those pre-orders opened up, I started mashing that button, getting my bank details all put in and everything like that, and it failed like 20 times. I was actually afraid I wasn't going to get one at one point because Steam was crashing. It was a kind of a nightmare. Even when I had it in my cart and all of my banking details set up, just pushing that purchase button over and over and over again, it was going nowhere. Sorry, there's a problem with this transaction. Please try again later. Over and over and over again. But after about 7 minutes of repeatedly pushing the button, I finally got my pre-order. I'm happy to say I did order the top model. I'm going to go through the 3 different models a little bit for you in case you're not really familiar with the different models and what you can expect from them. But I ordered the top model, which is Canadian, about $829, which seems like a lot of money. But when you actually look at the specs that are inside this thing, you cannot buy a gaming PC, a normal sit-on-the-floor under your desk gaming PC, for anywhere near $829 that would match the performance that this thing is putting out. I am so glad to be able to sit here and nerd out with you right now over just how utterly cool this thing is. Imagine having a PS4 in your hands with a 7-inch screen. Things are going to look fantastic. They're going to play fantastic. You're going to be able to play all kinds of great games. But let's take a look at the 3 different models. So entry level here, the one that I told you was $50 more than the new OLED Switch that's coming out for $350 US in October. While for $400 US, you can have this new machine, the Steam Deck, which gives you way more performance and quite a few different quality of life things. For example, you're probably seeing in some of the images, there's a couple of little square pads. You guessed right, those are mouse pads. And combined with the gyro, this is a whole new innovative way to control mouse and keyboard games on a handheld device. And from what I've been hearing from IGN and GameSpot and all the other people that have actually had hands-on this thing and actually tested it, they say it works really great. Takes a little bit to get used to, but from all the reviews that I've heard, this thing is amazing. So the first level, 64 gigs of basically SD memory, similar to what you'd see in the Switch or whatever. I think it's a little bit faster SSD memory. 64 gigs, not very much storage, but you can put an SD card in it. Probably this model is going to be recommended if your Steam library is full of indie games or maybe older games. If you want the best cutting-edge games running on this thing, you're probably going to want the faster memory that comes with the NVMe hard drives in the 2nd and 3rd tier models. NVMe, the same technology that is in the PS5 and the Xbox Series X that make their loading times so lightning fast. Just cuts down on all those loading times and stuff. So that's the same technology that you're seeing in the PS5 that people are absolutely losing their minds trying to get their hands on. So the second model is 256 gigs NVMe storage. It's got the same performance, excellent video card, excellent chipset, 4-core, 8 threads, like 16 gigs of DDR5 memory. This thing is actually absolutely packs a wallop for performance. Absolutely buries the Switch as far as performance is concerned. And then the top model of this, which is fairly expensive at $859 Canadian. I believe that's about $650 or $629 or something like that USD. So a little bit expensive compared to gaming consoles, but you really have to compare this to a gaming PC and factor in the fact that you have all that power in your hands that you can put in a backpack, take on the bus, take to a hotel, take to the doctor's office, wherever you want to play this thing, you've all of a sudden got access to everything that a PC has to offer. And that's really where the game changer is, because, well, the Nintendo Switch does that very well, giving you portable play on the go. And Nintendo is absolutely beloved for their first-party titles. The third-party titles really struggle on the Nintendo Switch platform. You look at games like The Outer Worlds. Imagine being able to play the best version of The Outer Worlds, which is on PC, on this handheld, and have it run at 60 frames a second, ray tracing, the whole 9 yards. Whatever you can get through Steam, you're getting the best experience you possibly could, minus the resolution, although you won't really notice the smaller resolution on that small of a screen. So imagine, that's where the game changer is. Here's another thing to consider. Because this is a PC, you can hook this thing up, have Windows 10 installed on it, or even Windows 11 when that comes out, assuming it's compatible, which I think it probably will be. And then you can run Xbox Game Pass. Can you imagine Xbox Game Pass handheld on the go? This is literally an open door invitation to Xbox to put all of these great games that we love that are coming to the Series X day one. Remember E3, they announced 30-something games and 28 of them were coming to Game Pass day one. Imagine having all 28 of those experiences handheld. Amazing. Absolute game changer. Then you think about things like emulators, for example. Whatever your stance is on piracy, or whether you somehow came across some downloaded games legitimately, if they're your own backups, depending on what country you live in. I'm not endorsing any kind of illegal activity. However, running emulators on this thing is going to be easy as pie. Running the Dolphin emulator and playing GameCube games portably. Select Wii games. This thing has motion controls, gyros, and things like that will probably translate over into the Dolphin emulator to let you play a lot of the Wii games in the library that you couldn't necessarily play handheld any other way before. Let alone all of the old stuff, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, TurboGrafx, Sega Genesis, easy peasy. RetroArch, running PS2 games, PS1 games, Sega Saturn games. Like, the sky is the limit. This machine will literally do everything, for the most part, that you could possibly even want it to do. And now with Sony putting a lot of their exclusives onto PC platforms, you can expect that you're going to be able to play something like Horizon Zero Dawn or Horizon Forbidden West handheld. Can you imagine that? That is going to be amazing. I can't wait to see what the future holds for this device as more and more companies come to support it. Imagine getting an Xbox Game Pass plug-in right in the OS so that you don't even have to modify this thing in any way. You can just play Xbox Game Pass games natively. I can really imagine Xbox doing that. So will you be picking one of these things up day one, or will you wait and see? I've already got my pre-order in, and I can't wait for December. I mean, I got my pre-order in the first 7 minutes, give or take, so I'm hoping I'll be among the first batch of people that does get served in December. We'll have to wait and see, but you can bet this is not going to be my last video on the Stream Deck. I am like a kid in a candy store. This is literally Christmas in July for me. Not to mention getting the pre-order today, I also picked up Zelda Skyward Sword, and the custom Joy-Cons, and the Loftwing Amiibo, all today as well. So this was absolutely Christmas in July for me, and I can't wait to share more of my excitement and passion for this stuff with you in the future. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button because I have all kinds of new content coming every week. If you're not new here, hit the like button. Either way, helps me out a ton. And thanks, guys. Stay classy.